Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salam ala rasulillah ma ba'd. The question is asking about shares and how to give zakat on shares. Now, when it comes to the books of fiqh, the use of the word share or stake or bond or something similar to that, or investments of different types, it could be seen as a business partnership in one sort of way of looking at it, and it can also be seen as an investment in another way of looking at it. Therefore, when it comes to tijara, when it comes to having shares or stocks, it could be that the intention is that the person becomes a partner in the trade, or it could be that the person wants to buy assets. Based on that differentiation now, we have the ahkam when it comes to zakat. Now, we previously said, and you can go back to the audio there, that there are guidelines in buying shares and stocks, etc. The ulama have said that they have to be pure, meaning in the sense that the trade that you are getting yourself involved with, the service or the company, etc., they can't have anything haram involved in it. So the trade itself or loans, etc. And you can go back to that for further clarification. But let's just say now the person's got shares and a stake or whatever it might be, bonds in a company where everything is halal, let's say like an electronics company or a gas company which is run by the government, so there are no riba-based loans. How does he give zakat? Now, Shaykh al-Uthaymeen rahimahullah said that there are two scenarios. If the person has bought shares into this company for the purpose of trading the shares, then they take the ruling of urud al-tijara, meaning trade goods. So now a lot of people do this, and it's a halal way of earning money. A person buys shares when they are low, and then he sells them when they are high, and then he buys them in another company when they are low, and they continue doing this. This person needs to give zakat on what he has after one full hijri year on the capital as well as the profits. This is because this is now taking the same ruling as trade goods. The second scenario Uthaymeen rahimahullah says is that you are buying into an asset. It's not trade goods, you are buying into an asset, right? So you're buying, shares in a house or a farm or a factory or something like that. Now, the Messenger of Allah ﷺ said in a hadith which is in Bukhari and others, لَيْسَ الْمُسْلِمْ فِي فَرَسِهِ وَلَا غُلَامِهِ صَدَقَةً. The person, he doesn't need to give zakat on his assets. So if he's got a horse, if he's got a servant, the hadith mentions servant, but in our equivalent today, your house or your car or your clothes, you don't need to give zakat because these are fixed assets. So now if a person has bought a share or a stake into a fixed asset, so he's bought the house and he's got a share in it. The house itself, there is no intention of trade. But what he wants to do with the house is get the rent from it. So now what he needs to do is give zakat on the rent, but not on the asset itself, not on the value of the house. Unlike the first scenario, because the person has got those shares with the intent to trade. So now we can see that there is a difference. With this now, look at the ulama. May Allah preserve the ulama, those who remain, and have mercy on those who have passed away. They have said in the second scenario, if the person has bought into agriculture, for example, then when it comes to the ahkam of zakat, when it comes to agriculture, this requires further details, and we've covered this in our courses, that when a person is giving zakat on agricultural goods, products and produce, then if the earth has irrigated the land, then that person has to give 1/10. And if the person has irrigated it by himself in his own efforts, then he needs to give 1/20. So what they have then said, that if you've got shares in a company like that, then this then needs to be taken into consideration also. So when it comes to shares and stocks, there are so many different things because there isn't one set sort of way of looking at shares and stocks when it comes to the Sharia. However, I would say, everyone's situation is different. For the most part, I think people buy shares into a company as an investment. Therefore, what we would say is that the actual asset itself doesn't require, the capital itself doesn't require zakat. However, what requires zakat is what you get from the dividends on an annual basis, the profit that you get from your assets. However, some people buy these shares with the intention of trade, and if that's the case, then they need to give zakat on the actual capital as well as the profits that they receive from it. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He makes us of those who give zakat and have zakat in the dunya before the akhirah.